So today's interview is with Philippe Pinerd, a 6-dan master, successful coach and chairman with the Pan American Taekwondo Union, within the Pan American Taekwondo Union. Originally from France, his Taekwondo journey has taken him all around the globe, including attending the Summer Olympics on numerous occasions, dating back to Seoul '98 and to Rio 2016. Hello, sir. Thank you for allowing me to interview you.
Thank you, Mark. Happy to see you.
Okay. For the record, I am a bit nervous, as I'm sure my listeners will understand why soon. But first, let's give it a try. Can you? Is my accent okay?
Yeah, I love it. It's a Scottish.
Perfect. I must admit, I like the French accent as well, so we're good. Okay.
William Wallace accent.
Yeah. Okay. I'll try and make it a little bit more Scottish as well. Okay. No problem. So we have lots to talk about today. But first, can you tell the listeners, how did you get into Taekwondo?
Yes. So I was born in France, but because my father was a medical doctor,
okay,
surgeon, he went back to Africa. My grandmother was from Central African Republic.
Okay.
So mainly my father won a scholarship, went to France to do his studies, and then came back to Africa.
Brilliant.
And he was the first surgeon doctor of the country. So he brought me with him. I was 3 years old to Central African Republic, and I grew up there until 15 years old. So when I was 14 years old, I saw a magazine describing various combat sports and martial arts forms, and I was impacted by this movement. Actually, you know, just like strike me very. I felt something special with that, and I looked, and this was Taekwondo. So that's my main. I think Taekwondo struck me somewhere, yeah, and that's why I oriented my mind towards Taekwondo.
Okay. So who did you start doing Taekwondo with? Was it a Korean master or was it someone from France? Or?
At first, in Africa, we had a group of young people, and in that group, people were practicing different. There was no Taekwondo in Central Africa. So
okay. Oh, it was Africa, right? Okay. My mistake. Sorry. Yeah.
Then, like playing with these friends, and we did a lot of things, like looking at Bruce Lee movies and everything. But when I traveled to France at 15 years old, I go with the intention of starting Taekwondo with a master.
Yeah.
And in France, I started Taekwondo at 15 years old, which is quite late.
Yeah.
But I had a fantastic teacher, a Korean master. And he had a doctorate in Greek philosophy. He was a competitor in Paris-Dakar, you know, the car race.
Yeah.
Representing Kia. He was a 6-dan in Taekwondo, 5th in Judo, 4th in Kendo. It was, until now, he had all my admiration. We are very close until now. So, special master.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, that's really good. That's good. So,
Jong Lim. Choi. Che Jong Lim.
Name. Okay, yeah. And is he still in France now?
He's in Korea. He's writing scenarios for the National Theatre because he's also a writer.
Wow. Okay. That's excellent. Eh? Yeah. Good.
Yeah.
So, do you feel because you chose Taekwondo, it also chose you? You know, I mean, because you're giving so much of yourself to Taekwondo, and the opportunities that arose. Did you ever imagine that your journey would take you where it has?
I could not measure it like that, like on a diachronical way, no. But on a synchronical way, yes. It means I always felt something for this art. For me, it's an art. Yeah. It's like music. You're a musician for life. It just touched art, and for me, it's the same with all martial arts, not only Taekwondo. So the question is yes. The answer is yes. The question is always open. I don't know what is tomorrow, but
yeah. I like what you said there. Like, if you're a musician for life, and it's the
Yeah.
same with martial arts. I really like that. Yeah, it's a really good explanation. Yeah, no, brilliant, excellent. So, Grandmaster Si Kim, so the Samsung Pro Team coach, he said that, you know, sorry, some say that he is the most successful Korean coach, you know, and he said you were his student, and he described you as a world-class teacher and successful coach. Now that's a great honor in itself, I think, to be fair. And where did you meet him? Was that in Korea you met him at is it Dongjong High School, I think, is that right?
Yes, Dongsong.
Dongsong, sorry. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
You know, at the time, Dongsong High School was the most successful place for Taekwondo players, as they say. Okay, and Master Kim Se-hyuk, he's the former student of Master Ko Ui-min, which is in Germany now.
Yeah.
And you know, this generation, they put the boxing steps into Taekwondo. They put a lot of new things in the sparring style. And Master Kim Se-hyuk did crystallize that, this experience. And then he proposed a very special methodology. He was the first to use tubes, elastic tubes for the training. Yeah, and the cut kick.
Yeah.
He was the first to use as an approach, and then it was forbidden. I mean, a lot of stories, you know, and he was a very creative teacher.
Yeah.
And I had the privilege to go for, because I was not a high school student. I was already a university student when I went to Korea, but I go train there because it's the hardest place, and they have winter and summer camps.
Okay.
So it's a month, full month of very hard training, and it's like a boxing training camp. You understand?
Yeah.
And the physical part, the strength and conditioning, the technical, the sparring, and everything. And several times I did receive fantastic information, fantastic transformation, because the fighters there were like elite fighters.
Yeah.
So I'm very thankful to him, very thankful to see that he gave me credit. Of course, our relations with the time, once I leave Korea, once I start to work with Olympic teams, many times we cross each other. He was the head of the Korean team. Sometimes we fight against each other. Every time I just ask my technical direction to put another coach because I don't want to cross it.
Okay, yeah.
That's all the way, and it maybe doesn't look professional, but for me it was a must in the culture that I received, and he appreciated a lot. So to tell you all the truth, he did propose me to be the first foreign national coach for the Korean team.
Wow, that would be good. Yeah, that's amazing.
And yeah, it was in 2014, I guess, if I remember well. And then I told him that was a great honor. I had to let my professorship in Keimyung University to be able to do that. But I could measure that in Korea, I was heading with a lot of problems, you know, because those places are very, very like, they're wanted by a lot of good Korean former athletes or like coaches and everything. And I didn't want to generate, I didn't want to fight against each other. So many things were to change, in my view. And I didn't want to bother him. So I explained all this, and he said, okay, let's wait for the time then, but the invitation is still open. And then a few months later, he had problems, and then they take he had problems, and he couldn't keep the same position. So somehow I was like visionary.
But you know, you're still very young. I'm sure that opportunity may come.
No, I don't have this intention anymore.
Okay.
Anyway.
Yeah, no problem. So you were head coach for France as well from 2002 to 2005. So that must have been a great honor for you to coach, you know, elite athletes in that country, in France, you know.
Yeah, great honor, great privilege. I was speaking with some friends like 2 days ago, and I say, when I was sitting on Fridays, the sparring days, was like I was looking at the World Championships final in some category. It was incredible. What we did build there then.
Okay.
We built a very strong identity within our group, and it was a very special feeling. So great honor and great privilege.
Happy memories as well, yeah?
What do you say?
Happy memories as well, yeah.
Happy memories, difficult ones too, because you know the politics always go with that. There is one saying that say when there is a lot of light, there is also a big shadow. So
yeah.
I learned that. I learned that.
Yeah. Okay. So obviously, education seems to be a continued hobby of yours, to be fair. And when I looked at all the stuff that you've achieved in your life, it's amazing. It's a great read, I must admit. You know, I remember seeing you coaching, and, you know, when you see somebody sitting on a chair, you'd think, oh, it's a coach, great. But what you've achieved in your lifetime already is amazing, to be fair. And I'd just like to mention what you've done education-wise, as far as I saw. So you have a bachelor degree in foreign languages and civilization. You have a bachelor degree in sports education. You have a master's in training of sport. You have a master's in negotiations, which is the one that I was a bit nervous about. I was like, oh, how am I going to get on interviewing you? I wasn't sure. And then you have a professional master's in international negotiations. So yes, such a great education already. You know, I mean, I think it's really amazing, to be fair. I mean, how important have these qualifications been in molding you into who you are?
Okay, I would like to say that you can't imagine how lazy I have been, because if I have been more like consistent about my studies, I could have like 1 or 2 doctorates. As some of the English friends that you interviewed before, they had very good doctorates, right? But I did have to mild my academic career, going with the fact that very early I had already jobs. So I finished my bachelor in language and civilization, and I get a job in Korea right away. Okay. So then when I finished my first mission, I came back and then go back to university. And for example, the professional master and the master in international negotiation that I had, which are from one of the best universities in France, I passed it. I was like already 43 years old. So you see, learning is a lifelong process. Yeah. You never stop. What happens is that I get inspired, and then I put myself in that, and I try to manage. That's it. I mean, nothing special. It's just that I never lose the hunger to study and grow in some aspect of our lives. As someone can be a gardener, or someone, you know, it's it's the same value. The thing is that you have to find where you think that you have a window for growth.
Yeah. That's a very humble answer, I think.
Really.
Honestly.
Also, I can say you that the bachelor in sports and the master in sports are special dispositive from the French government for like former elite fighters. We have a special dispositive, and then we do the same amount of hours. Like for example, for the master is about 600 hours, but we have special dispositive. So they put everything easy for us, so we can achieve in 1 year or in 2 years what will normally take a lot of time. You know.
Yeah, that's excellent.
And there are state diplomas from the Ministry of Sports. So there are special dispositives. So I'm not as meritant as someone who go on 5 years at university on the back. But I already work in sports, so it's a good yeah.
No, excellent. That's really good. So you've previously worked with the Kukiwon and World Taekwondo. What's your thoughts on President Cho's direction for Taekwondo? I mean, you're chairman of the Pan American Taekwondo Union High Performance Committee. So I guess you must know him quite well.
Yeah, that's a difficult question because I have to use my international negotiation skills,
Yes.
right? I'll tell you first, with the cookie one, I was just an assessor because they invite me to take advices on some matters, some points. And it has been a long, like 10 years, I was like in relation with. I did not work for the
Okay.
cookie one. Yeah, that's first thing.
Okay.
The second thing is that for the WT, former WTF, I've been working in a cooperation mode for the IOC Solidarity Program and seminars. So mainly the International Olympic Committee scouts some people recommended by the World Taekwondo Federation to go give seminars in Rwanda or any countries that need a seminar. So that was my cooperation with the WT. And about Dr. Chu, personally, I think he's a great gentleman, the person. I don't agree with a lot of things that are with the actual vision of what is the development of Taekwondo as a combat sport. I disagree with a lot of topics, but what can I do? I just can think what I think and just be respectful of the other dynamics of the world WT. That's what I can say. Great man. I see the development modes. I think that it should be different on many matters. I will not say more because this is something that I can speak with him directly or I can make a report. But in an interview, I don't want to.
No, I totally understand. I mean, do you think your views, just a little bit, do you think your views come because you were a competitor as well? So you see it from the competitor side?
Not only, yes, in a part. The other part is like, especially for sports, I can see that there is a big lack of process on many important matters. The process must precede the decision and the implementation of the rules of the new situations. And this is not, for me, to my observation, that process is very weak.
Okay.
So they more scientific, more systematic, more conscient process, a much better process before they impact the sport activity.
Okay.
That's why I can resume my point of view. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's good. So you talked about the cookie one earlier. I mean, do you feel that the cookie one will change, especially now with the introduction of the Taekwondo Park? Do you think it's still going to have the same importance in a sense?
I should say that there is something not very logical in the actual Korean pattern of with Taekwondo. Okay. You have the Taekwondo one, which is a governmental institution.
Yeah.
The founding are from the Korean government. Then you have the cookie one, and mainly the founding comes from the money they can gather from the work. And so cookie one is the guarant of the DAN, the technical official curriculum of the traditional Taekwondo. The Taekwondo one is the promoter of Taekwondo as a cultural asset, global cultural asset, not the sports part. Yeah. The sports part is in the W. Yeah. So they should harmonize very well. They should harmonize, and every part should do his part of the job. But I see like something very like mixed and confusing even to me. Yeah. So I think the first thing they have to do is to put order in their priorities, their missions, and the way they're gonna develop that. For example, it has been 11 years I have the 6th dan in Taekwondo from the cookie one, right? But 11 years, imagine, I could have like 7, 8 dan now. But I stopped the process because the value I give to that kind of things now is like for the knowledge I have of what is the requirements to have this and the way they proceed, I'm not very okay with that. I think cookie one has to be more strict about the technical features and values that one should have to pass a dan. It has to mean something. And until that happens, I can't tell you that the Kukion is going in the right way. I really don't know. And it should not be only a political decision. It should be all masters and all guardians of the way decision to be listened and implemented in that. What is Kukion? Kukion is the warrant. Kukion is the symbol of one's progression into traditional Taekwondo. So if it's no more traditional, if it's no more difficult, then where is the value?
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think the Kukion, they have access to amazing masters, grandmasters. So I think that is potentially achievable, but I think it's maybe the business side that's maybe the confusion. And I think if they separate them and yeah, run it good as a business, fine, but you know, don't forget this side. I think you're correct. Yeah, I must agree. Yeah. The first time I went to Korea, I visited the Kukiwon, and I was expecting something amazing. And you walk in, and it's just a hall, you know, just like a stadium, and I was a bit confused, you know. And I think that's something that you know could change. You know, I think it should change. It should be something, you know, because people make a pilgrimage almost to the Kukiwon, and I think they could do a better job of that as well.
Definitely they could do, and I think some authorities don't realize what it means for us foreigners, and then if they realize that, they will be like astonished by the importance that the Kukion has and should have as a posture. You know, it's like really a cultural promotion tool, incredible cultural promotion tool, and the way they promote it is very poor, definitely. But it's a positive critic. You know, understand? I don't want to say that everything is bad, but should be better.
Yeah. And I think, and I hope it will get better, because it is a great opportunity. I think for Korea to have the home of Taekwondo there, the history, the knowledge. I think it has the ability to do it. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed that you know it can happen. Yeah. So you have helped or advised or educated so many countries, including Costa Rica, Cuba, this may take a while, Kazakhstan, Aruba, Russia, Africa, Senegal, Algeria, Ivory Coast, and Dominican Republic. Now, I'm not sure, have I missed anybody?
Yeah, some, but I mean, for example, when you say Africa and Senegal and Algeria, Ivory Coast, they are all in Africa, right?
Yeah.
So mainly I will say, for me, Mark, it's a kind of mission, and this mission has no faces, no nationalities. I mean, from the position I'm in, I was in France. We received like African athletes, so they had scholarship to be with us. And then I went to Korea. I was leading an institution where a lot of foreign athletes in preparation could come. Some example, England. I had Craig Brown for a time, a good fighter that I appreciate a lot. And so, you know, all this like come and go type of relationships within sports explain why I have that wide range of like nationalities in what I've touched with my experience. But yeah, mainly what is not here appearing is the Central African Republic. It's my country, like my second country, and I helped them benevolently for 3 years, and we did succeed on for the qualification of London Games. It was the first time in the history of the country. It was unthinkable before, and we did qualify two athletes for London. So yes, that's the main thing I will say. I have not big merit on. I'm not going like knocking at the doors of those countries. The position I am in an international movement leads me to that, to have a lot of nationalities and work with them.
So on that, this is a kind of stranger question. You can answer it how you feel or not. It depends on what you feel yourself. And it was just a bit of tongue in cheek, you know, just a little bit of a joke because of the negotiation you've done. So you've studied negotiations. So which country that you've worked with has tested your negotiation skills the most?
Kazakhstan.
That was quick. That was very quick. Do you want to elaborate?
Yeah, I mean, they had a very like classic model of like, you know, old Soviet periodization style and I mean, certitude about Korea being the leading force and everything has to be imitating Korea. And I came here with a quite totally new vision project. And I was very lucky to convince, in presence of the Kazakhstan Olympic Committee, the president of the federation, who was actually a bank owner.
Okay.
Yeah, and then a very visionary guy listened to my exposition, and then he told me, okay, Philippe, I don't know why, but I feel that I have to trust you. And then he gave me his hand and said, you have a wild card. Right. So from them, I had like almost 2 years to make a completely new program with a new method, and it was very successful. But I really did use my skills to convince people at that time. Yeah. It was a tough situation.
Yeah, that's good. That's great. So you now live in Peru, which I think is amazing. I mean, how long have you stayed there, and how is your life there?
3 years. The first part of my stay was incredible because new challenge. You know, I like that. I like to go in countries that never did nothing at a big level and then try to make it and happen. So first year, very good, very nice, like incredible response and then good result. And then they changed the president.
Okay.
And then like a nightmare, destruction, like, you know, classical example where politics come and kill the sportsman. Mm-hmm. So now I'm taking care of, in Spanish, Centro de Alto Rendimiento is like a high performance, little high performance center, completely private with private sponsorship. Okay. So I have 8 athletes who are all Peru national champions. They kill the final with 30 points difference. They win some G2 gold recently, first time in history, but they are not from inside the federation. So it's a big, that's why I'm fighting now to make them recognize that one athlete can train on another program than the classical federation one and still be at disposition of his country, his federation to go and make results. So if they accept that, I will have win my stay here.
Yeah, yeah.
On a cultural, Peru is a very beautiful country outside of Lima, the capital, because Lima has it's seaside, so it's always gray and the climate is like very humid. Okay. Doesn't fit very well. But when you go outside, it's a very beautiful country. Still, my life doesn't allow me to go outside, especially with the pandemic now. Yeah. So I feel like quite trapped here. Yeah, for the moment. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's very difficult when association, you know, and the fighters are outside. I mean, I know personally, obviously, with likes of Aaron Cook. For many years has had so many problems or issues, you know. And, you know, one thing, although he's no longer fighting for Great Britain, one thing that I think is amazing is the fact that Aaron Cook is now training in the British Taekwondo setup, you know. And I think that's great. So that's proof that, you know, people can come together, you know, and hopefully it'll work out together.
Finally, this is Taekwondo. I mean, if you can find a solution on a common ground and be wise enough to make it work, that's the best way. The meeting of the yin and the yang, you know. Yeah.
No, definitely. Yeah. That's good. So are you, with your current situation where you're working with these athletes? Obviously, that's in a private setup. Are you still allowed to work with other athletes and countries, or are you just contracted to that?
Yeah, because as the chairman of the high performance committee here, we have now it's stopped with the pandemic, but we had a good dynamic. So I was leading camps, training camps, to prepare, for example, the qualification for the Olympic Games in the Pan Am region. So we do training camps where we gather a lot of nationalities from all the Pan American continent, and then train them in order to help them their skills. And I was doing that like 3-4 times when the pandemic came. And now, so at the time I was meeting a lot of people and very nice situations. And now in a virtual mode, I'm helping Mexico, Argentina with like seminars, free seminars. And then we go like that for the moment, because hopefully it will open soon, but for the moment we're in that situation.
Yeah, it's a different situation just now. Yeah, very difficult. Yeah.